Gophers fans, welcome into episode 2 of Staying in the House, powered by gopherhole.com. I got my green screen. We're outside TCF Bank Stadium. Hope I'm bringing you some positive vibes as we all sit inside and flatten the curve. I want to post instructional videos. I get so many emails from you guys asking about some of the things that I write about. Is there any video form that we could use to get a better understanding of what you're talking about? So I decided during this time, I'll post a few film clips with things that I saw last year that were really effective. And thanks to Coach Caduti on YouTube, I was able to pull out some great clips to illustrate my points and discuss something that I really enjoy talking about, which is the outside zone rushing scheme. I read a lot of books, Alex Gibbs clinics on YouTube, different things that Gary Kubiak's talked about. And outside zone rushing scheme is pretty much just the sense of you're blocking a specific area, and then the running backs are finding different creases. There's 3 different reads that a running back will make throughout the course of a game, and I'll put those up in just a few seconds. But the Gophers, we really need to illustrate the point of how well they performed with their rushing attack by using outside zone on a consistent basis. Primarily in the past, Kirk Shiraka has been a guy that really likes to use inside zone, and it's been a bread and butter play, pick up 4 yards and move on. But now with the outside zone scheme, they were able to create a lot of explosive plays. I'd say the vast majority of Rodney Smith's big plays last year came off outside zone because he runs with great patience. He's elusive. He's able to find creases. He does a nice job of reading the defense and pre-snap and understanding maybe what look he's going to get, because a lot of times that's what happens. How is the defense playing you? Are they overplaying to the perimeter? That means you might want to bend backwards. There's certain things that a running back can do pre-snap, and then when the ball is snapped and they're surveying the defense, they're able to find different creases. That's what's created by outside zone rushing schemes. And you have to have athletic offensive linemen, great interior players that can reach, block, and get to the second level, open up rushing creases. And then your wide receivers have to block really well in the perimeter. And that's something that the Gophers last year, I was hard pressed to find any team in the country that blocked better and more consistently from the wide receivers than the Gophers did last year. So I pulled out clips from the Nebraska game, all 22 cuts, that will help us understand the outside zone scheme, why it was effective, some of the things that the Gophers did in that game. It was an absolute masterpiece against the Cornhuskers. They got them moving sideline to sideline, that Huskers defensive line, and they had no answer for it. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to horizontally displace the defense by running the outside zone scheme. And then if someone starts overplaying you to the perimeter, you go back to that bread and butter inside zone, run it right down their throat, and you're going to have a lot of success with that. I'll have a clip to discuss that and highlight it a little bit better. And not only that, but the play action concepts. You see, when you watch teams that run outside zone concepts consistently and have it as a core part of their offense, the play action game works really well. They're able to use the RPOs and the play actions to take shots downfield, and the defense really doesn't know what's coming. If they bite and the linebackers all move, you got a good quarterback that sells a play fake like Tanner Morgan, you're going to have a lot of success with it. So before we dive in, I want to just have a glossary of terms here just to help you understand what's going on. I tried to simplify this down. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to write something in the comments here. Send me an email, DM me on Twitter. I'm happy to answer anything that doesn't come up in this video. But first, I want to show the 3 different reads that we talked about. So this is an outside zone play pre-snap. And there's 3 different options that the running back has. First, they got the bounce. So they can bounce outside the tight end, the initial aiming point. I've heard a lot of different coaches say different things about this. Some say you're going right for the middle of the offensive tackle. I've heard some say, okay, you need to make sure that your backs go a yard outside the tight end. I would just say C gap and to the edge. The running back will see what's going on pre-snap. Maybe they're overloading one side. So you're like, okay, I'll probably bend this back, which is the other read. Or you're going to see the way the defense is playing at the snap, based upon how the offensive line's blocking, the creases that are created, you're able to bounce outside. The bounce is going to be effective when you have your edge guys blocking really well, sealing off the edge, and creating a lane for the running back, maybe to push up against the aiming point, be really patient and then bounce outside, or just decisively bounce outside. Bang read, you're going to see right away someone probably successfully reach blocked inside to create that. We'll talk about what a reach block means, but right now it's essentially the idea that the interior player is going to take a 45-degree step, swivel his hips, and get outside leverage on the defensive lineman. So that's basically what a reach block does. And when that happens, the running back is able to hit the bang read, most likely between the guard and the tackle. And of course, these different reads, they're just a guidance point. You're looking at what the defense is giving you, and per se, you're going to see a bounce and a bang and a bend read, and they could look a little bit different. This is just a diagram to give you an idea of what it kind of looks like. And then the bend is one where, like I said, if they're overplaying, you got guys pursuing downhill hard to the play side. The running back can be really patient, press at the aiming point toward the tackle, and kick it back to the other side. So when we go through these videos, I'll be talking about what kind of examples of these different things that are showing. But for right now, here is the three different reads: the bounce, the bang, and the bend. Bounce outside, bang between the guard and the tackle, and then bend backwards to the other side, to the backside. Some coaches teach their players to cut block on the backside. It depends on what you want to do. Most NFL teams are cut blocking. A lot of coaches are like, well, if a guy falls on the ground and he cut blocks, he's got to try to get back up, and there's just a lot of obstacles with that. And at the college level, I would say you see some teams that maybe cut block, others that don't. So it's just kind of personal preference. But now I'm going to pull up some clips here. Just bear with me just for a second here as I pull these up. We're going to show you what a reach block is, because we were talking a lot about those different terms. So these are the reads that we discussed, and I want you to remember those as we move to the next step here. I'm pulling it up, and I have to just share my screen. So if you bear with me just for a second, it's a little bit of a. All right. Blocks, I believe, are illustrated perfectly by John Michael Schmitz. I tell you what, I firmly believe that John Michael Schmitz is going to be a highly coveted interior offensive line product when he's done at the University of Minnesota. Last year, top graded center in the Big Ten, third rated center overall by PFF. I love what he does in the inside zone, inside and outside zone schemes, because he's just incredible at gaining leverage by reach blocking. He moves well. He has a mean streak. He has all the traits. Kirk Shiraka called him the Tasmanian Devil, and I just love that nickname because he just plays with that mean streak. And I want to show what a reach block is, because he is a definition of reach blocking. And when you're watching games, you need to dial in and just watch John Michael Schmitz. I did it a lot last year because I just could see instantly what a difference he's making. So let's walk through the reach block. The video just seemed to cut off there. Sorry about that. Here we go. Working out some of the new kinks here as we try this new system. So you can see pre-snap, getting the call from the sideline. Tanner's, processing everything that's going on. The coaches are making calls up in the booth in the pre-snap, identifying different keys of the defense. Now watch. I'm going to pause just a little bit here. So the first step's a 45-degree step that coaches really always teach when they're implementing these outside zone schemes. And then he's able to shoulder the defensive tackle. So I stopped in the next frame. There's a few different things that you want to watch for here when a player is reach blocking. Essentially, all we're doing is really attempting to gain outside leverage on that defender by reaching him. Many coaches talk about taking a 45-degree reach step. Some call it a bucket step. I call it a reach step. So 45-degree angle, like I said. Then the next step involves flipping those hips, and that's what you're going to see in the next clip when I unpause it here, and moving your inside arm through the defender's outside number. And then once you flip the hips and square up, then you're able to create a crease for the running back to potentially take the bang read and cut inside. But essentially, anything you're trying to do here is, as an offensive lineman, you want to reach step, flip your hips, gain that leverage, and then push the defender outward to create the crease. So as you can see right here, John Michael Schmitz is able to successfully reach. Now you look at where Rodney's at in this play. He's looking and he's seeing, okay, I can take the bang read here and pick up about 6 yards. So let's run the play all the way through once. That was all because of John Michael Schmidt's ability to reach block. I'm just going to run the play all the way through for you guys again. The ability to have a center like this that can do all these different things and get to the second level and actively reach block, it allows you to adequately run this system at a very high level and execute it. And the Gophers have offensive linemen like Connor Olson and John Michael Schmitz that are effective athletes and movers. So it works very, very well for them to fit in a system like this. So those are basically the glossary terms that I wanted to go through with you guys. Many of the different concepts that the Gophers use with the outside zone. We'll be talking about reach blocks quite a bit, and I expect they'll continue to use it next year quite consistently. And the running backs, they're going to thrive from it because it's a scheme that allows them to find a lot of creases and gives them some flexibility to do a lot of different things with their athletic skills. So the next part of the video, I want to just go right into the deep skeleton of the outside zone system that the Gophers ran in this game. So I'm pulling this clips up right now for everyone to see. So let's walk through all of these clips. So again, watch the offensive lineman move at a 45-degree angle. That's the biggest key here. If you want to identify when there's an outside zone play, watch how the offensive linemen move in lockstep. I'm pausing and moving the video back and forth so you can see it. Again, look at how Rodney has got his aiming point there. Got his aiming point right to the tackle, just outside of the tackle, and he sees that the defense is clustered inside, and Jake Paulson is able to get to the edge and lay a block there. So this is the bounce read play here. He's able to take the bounce read and get nice yardage on the perimeter. So that's one of the first examples, and is the bang, bounce, bend part that I showed you the picture before. That's the play that I pulled it from. Next part here is the example again. This was the reach block that I showed you guys in the last clip for the glossary section. This is all fueled by John Michael Schmitz. You can see it really from the top angle here as I slow it and go back again. Look at him reach there and totally move that defensive tackle, which allows him to hit the bang read and pick up much needed yardage when they were already behind the sticks. And I'll move ahead here because we've already looked at the end zone angle here. We can look at it from this perspective though, if you'd like again. Really, really effective job by John Michael Schmitz of reaching there. Now, another play. You can see this is going to be a bend opportunity. I want you to watch how the offensive line moves. Step, doubles down. Dunlap manages to be able to seal off the defensive tackle. It's all a result of everyone. You look at how hard the linebacker, number 7, is beaten downhill. He's thinking that this is going to be an outside perimeter play. So you've got him on your heels. Look at him on his heels right there. He manages to cut back. He's pounding the hole here. He's like, okay, I see. I'm going to just stop right here. Rodney does. And he ends up bending backward. Look at how Blaze Andries does a nice job on the backside of making contact with that player to slow him up, number 22. And then Rodney's off to the races from there. But that's an example. I believe Rodney, one of the things that really made him special was being able to create these types of plays on the backside creases. And it really suited him well to run these types of outside zone plays to maximize his elusiveness, his vision, his patience, those skills and traits that are all so important. Now, after running through the Rodney play, let's go to the next film cut. I want you to watch here. This is with Shannon Brooks. Again, entire offensive line moving at a 45. I'll just identify what this type of play is. You can see, again, you got Shannon Brooks probably can see like right away here that everybody is cheating over to take away the outside run here, the bounce read. There's no way there's the bang read. There's no way you're going to hit the bounce read. But look at how Blaze Andries is able to make an adequate block on the backside. And he's got a huge crease to run through. I mean, you could drive a truck through this hole here, and he hits it hard and creates an explosive play. But it all comes back to, again, the offensive line playing in lockstep, coming together, doing a really nice job of using athleticism, getting leverage at all points of the offensive line unit. I thought Dunlap had a really nice game in this Nebraska one. It was maybe one of his best performances of the year. But again, it's everyone really contributing together to create a performance like this. The cohesive nature between the offensive line and the running backs was a big part of this. So another clip here. I mean, the Gophers just absolutely obliterated Nebraska with the outside zone scheme. Again, look at Rodney, aiming point, again, with no tight end on this side. He's aiming for the outside portion of the tackle there. You can see he stops, and he looks, and he sees all of those defenders. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. And Jake Paulson's got a player locked up on the backside. He does a really nice job of getting position there. And you've got Schluter on the move, getting ready to lead in the hole. And then Rodney takes off and does what he can do best, is just create elusive plays and dynamic options in space. And that's what this does for running backs, is creates adequate creases for them to do what they need to do to create explosive runs. And Rodney, this scheme is just dynamite for him. I love watching him play and do his thing in this type of a outside zone system. So again, this is another example of bend read and Rodney Smith doing a really nice job of being patient. Another clip. I mean, it is unbelievable how well they were able to execute this, and it was working, so why not just do it again? Just keep running it, and the Gophers did that all night long with all their backs. They're able to execute this system. Let's watch this play. This led to a touchdown. I want you to watch a couple things here. First, when we run the play again, watch how Dunlap is able to win his rep, lock up his man inside. He wasn't quite able to reach around the player, but he was able to shoulder him enough that he's off balance. And then Blaze does a tremendous job of being able to seal the edge here. Jake Paulson's kicking out, blocking the edge, and that creates a crease for Mo to just run wild. And Seth Green does what every Gophers receiver does so well, and that is being able to block on the perimeter and keep plays alive downfield. I mean, Ottman Bell, Tyler Johnson, Rashad Bateman, Seth Green, all these guys are able to block adequately to spark a lot of the big plays. And it's a big part of PJ Fleck's offense. He's like, you guys need to be able to block downfield to keep plays alive and keep them going. It's even more important when you're blocking on the perimeter for outside zone plays. Just being able to keep pushing downfield, and it can sometimes get you additional yards or even create a score because of the effort that's being displayed by the receivers at all times. And I'll show you an upper example of this in just a little bit. Another example of the outside zone rushing scheme. This is something where you see John Michael Schmitz again just getting on the run, getting around, getting ready to reach there. Connor Olson's already pushing downfield. And you can see Mohammed Ibrahim finds the crease and is able to create an explosive rushing play. But it all starts again by the offensive line playing cohesive on one side. And even Sam Schluter, we got to shout him out too. I mean, he played extremely well last year. I thought he was one of the most improved players on the team. For me, it was Sam Renner on the defense, Sam Schluter on the offense. Sam even looked to me in the spring ball to be in a physical condition that was on another level. And his techniques continued to progress, fits the scheme well. And these interior guys are really driving the bus. And with Blaise Andries' versatility, it's just huge to have skill sets that fit really, really well what you're trying to do. And that's what the Gophers have done a nice job of, is maximizing the potential of their players up front and creating schemes that allow them to run inside zone and blend it up nicely with outside zone and take some play action deep shots. Again, more of it. This is an example of, again, being able to bend it back, sees that the defense is over pursuing. There were a few adjustments that Nebraska made in the second half of this game that I really want to note with you guys. They aligned the defensive end on a wider technique. So they were really anticipating that these outside zone runs were going to happen again. The linebackers were cheating hard to one side. Look at how hard the backers are driving to the play side here. Then they gets run out of a gap right there, and boom, that backside backer gets way uphill on the play side, and Shannon shoots through the hole. And another explosive play off of outside zone. Again, just great job by the Gophers coaching staff and the offensive line of executing at a high level. Again, we're running some more of it. This is John Michael Schmitz again and Connor Olson. The left side of this whole line is very gifted, very talented, and they'll all be back next year, the entire unit. Look at how John Michael Schmitz is able to reach around the defensive tackle, and I'm replaying it again just so you can see it and appreciate it a little bit more. This is how plays are sparked, because John Michael Schmitz is able to reach, and then Connor Olson, watch him brush up into the second level to take on the linebacker. And then the same thing happens with Curtis Dunlap taking the backside there and backer and blocking him. So again, another explosive play for Rodney Smith. And finally, this is a pancake, and I just had to put it in here because I really appreciated it, and I love how hard Blaise Andries plays at all times. His versatility made a huge difference last year, being able to play both guard and tackle. And when someone got hurt, he just was able to fill in and act like there was no problem at all, which is not easy to do. Again, a couple things to watch here. Michael Schmitz is getting to the second level. Dunlap reaching around his guy. And then this is going to be a bounce read. Look at how Blaise Andries just pancakes the guy. And then my favorite part is he's just like Frankenstein. He stands up. Just stands up real fast. And he loved the pancake. And I like guys that play with that mean streak that you see all the time. I'm going to play it one more time at full speed so you can see it just a little bit better. But Blaze is someone that will really be on the radar of NFL teams because of his versatility, ability to swing and play multiple spots, and he's great in pass pro, excellent run blocker, and this is a pancake, one of his top blocks of the year. So these are just a few examples of outside zone rushing concepts. Few things I want to recap. Bang, bend, bounce reads. Those are the three things you have to remember. BBB. Then it's the reach blocks, the ability of the interior players to take a 45-degree step. Some call it a bucket step. They move at a 45-degree angle. Next step is flipping your hips, getting around and getting outside leverage against the defender. And then you're just climbing the ladder. You're trying to get to the second level. That's what a coach always told me and reminded me of reach blocking is you want to be able to climb the ladder into the second level after your reach block, and you flip your hips, and the entire offensive line group plays as one cohesively. So reach blocking, the reads, and then the receivers blocking on the perimeter, the running backs being able to find the creases adequately, reading correctly. Those are just a few things that are really, really key. But I'm excited about this Gophers offensive line, everyone being back next season. Biggest guy I feel that needs to take a step is Daniel Falele. I mean, he hasn't played the position as much because, he just hasn't had the background in the football side of it and just needs to get his technique more polished and consistent. And when he can do that, we'll see what his ceiling looks like. But right now, I look at the offensive line. Blaze right now is leading the way as kind of the cornerstone piece. And he was one of the top recruits in his cycle. And Dunlap is progressing. I thought he played better as the season went on and he gained more experience. You got to remember that a lot of those guys were pretty young. They were trying to get adjusted to playing at the college level. And I thought that the guy that really drove the bus inside once he came in, and I was clamoring for it last year. Anybody who read my stuff knows that I was really, really impressed with John Michael Schmitz and what he was able to do inside, and the numbers and the PFF grades really, really seem to reflect that. But next year, he's going to continue to play a huge role in this team. If they want to run more of this outside zone rushing scheme and pair it up with the inside zone, and they will, they have the personnel to do it. Connor Olson, another great mover, gets great leverage all the time. And Schluter, the most improved player on the offensive side of the ball. I love what I saw just in one practice of Sam Schluter, the physical growth that he has made from even just starting out at the offensive line position on a rotational basis. That the year prior he was playing as an extra jumbo tight end. Now he elevates in. Brian Callahan's just done a tremendous job of elevating talent. Now, I pulled up another clip for you guys to look at, and I want to point something out. I talked about how complementary the outside zone is with the inside zone, and the biggest difference with the inside zone is aiming point is the play side guard for the running back. You got the same lateral step that we're talking about with the outside zone, but you're not quite going as far to the sideline. And the running back's waiting again for everything to develop, and he's going to hit the crease. So you're meant to crank out a lot of consistent 4 or 5 yard gains. And it really works in conjunction with the outside zone, because if a team starts overplaying you, like Nebraska started to do in the second half of this game, then you come back and you hit them with outside zone and you run it right down their throat. I want to show you what happens pre-snap. I want you to watch the safety. Watch the safety right up here that I'm circling with my cursor. Watch how he points us out, and he's telling the second level of the defense that he believes that this outside zone play, watch him point, is going to be coming to the perimeter right on this side. Linebacker looks back, starts swaying, seeing him bite, And then he's like, oh no. And John Michael Schmitz then proceeds to block him out of the play. And again, you have another big inside zone rushing play that is the result of eventually seeing that they're starting to think that, oh, okay, this outside zone play keeps hitting the perimeter, keeps gaining a ton of explosive plays. We're going to widen out our techniques here. You can see the defensive end's really wide in comparison to what he was before. And they're playing the perimeter. You can see the perimeter guys coming up on the edge here. He'll come into your frame here real soon. Everyone thought this was going to be a type of bounce play that could potentially be a bang read, but they thought it was outside zone, and it turned out being inside zone, and the Gophers were able to capitalize upon it. Another area that I believe is really, really a benefit of running these types of outside zone concepts is the play action stuff that you're going to get off this, and even the RPOs work hand in hand with it too. I'm pulling this clip up now for you guys to see. The vertical concepts are aplenty. You can see here, this looks like a traditional outside zone play. Tanner does a nice job of selling that play fake. And then Tyler's coming over the middle, stretching the defense over the top. And then he makes a just incredibly dynamic play after the catch. This is one of the things that NFL teams are going to fall in love with is Tyler Johnson's really gifted when he gets into the open field and reads his blockers, finds creases, and just gets explosive plays going for his offense. Again, another play. Looks like the outside zone. But I love this route concept. This is a post wheel type variation with Rashad Bateman on the outside and Tyler Johnson running out of the slot wheel. So I want you to see what this does here. Puts conflict between the corner and the safety. Watch Bateman. Going to snap off right here, run up the field, and the cornerback bites. You see the blitz coming on the backside with Tanner. If you look up at the top of your screen right here where my cursor is, brought pressure, corner pressure. And with Rashad Bateman's ability to stress the safety and the corner, you've suddenly got an amazing matchup for Tyler Johnson running the wheel out of the slot right here. He is able to win over the top, and then Tanner puts the ball right on the money, just drops it in a bucket, and Tyler makes a play. I just like what Tanner does from a processing standpoint. Before the snap, you can see he's really reading the defense, and he'll maybe even have a little bit more freedom to do some things with Mike Sanford Jr. at the helm, such as like in the vertical passing game, there'll be a lot more ways to feature his ability to maybe check out of a play and call a vertical passing concept where he's able to exploit a tendency that he saw in film. Like I think about the Penn State game, for example, when he throws the TD to Bateman, he saw that in a lot of the clips, the nickel corner was blitzing and he was creeping up, and he knew that it was going to be a long run for the player all the way over on the other side of the boundary to come and make the play. So he was able to make that throw over the top. I remember him talking about that play, and I was super impressed. But the last clip that I want to show, I'm pulling it up right now. It's blocking on the perimeter, and we touched on it a little. I'm only looking at the Nebraska game today, but I could cut up about a gazillion different clips of the wide receivers adequately blocking downfield to gain additional yardage for the running back. So I want you to watch Tyler Johnson block here on this play. Without his block, this play is probably blowing up. I know it's not a huge gain, but it's the perfect example of a play where if the receiver isn't adequately blocking on the perimeter, he's not able to cut this inside. You know, he's probably getting stopped right out on the perimeter, and he maybe has to bounce it out. I watch so many games where receivers are lazy and they don't engage with the defender, and it creates more negative plays, or you lose out on 4 or 5 yards. I mean, that's a solid gain, even though it's third down. You're able to see the benefits of blocking on the perimeter and what it can do for your team. And there were other clips too that were in the outside zone family that I talked about in the last clip, that the wide receivers were doing a great job of blocking. You just have to pay close attention to it, and you'll notice it really fast that everyone's playing in sync on this Gophers team. It's the offensive line, it's the running backs finding the creases, it's the receivers blocking on the perimeter, and it's collective, cohesive, sound football and execution at a very, very high level. So this was a video to take you guys inside the outside zone scheme. I hope you learned something. We're able to gain a few different insights into why the Gophers had so much success with outside zone rushing. There are numerous clips throughout other games too, and maybe I'll pull some up eventually when I'm going through some of these games. But right now, I wanted you to get a basic fundamental understanding of why the Gophers were able to use outside zone, how it complements the inside zone rushing schemes, the flexibility it gives them, and why it fit the personnel that they had so well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope to do a few more of these in the future, and I'll definitely be posting more on social media to discuss any questions that you have from this video. Don't hesitate to send me an email, go with a Twitter DM, send me anything that you want, and I'll respond. But this is the end of episode 2 of Staying in the House, powered by gopherhole.com. We'll see you guys next time. Please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube at Gopherhole. You can view content on social media at Gopherhole as well on Twitter. Head over to gopherhole.com to check out all of the written content available. And then you can check out my work on Twitter at Daniel House NFL. We'll see you guys next time. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon.